Hey there. I am here with a friend of mine, Pastor Gerson from Cochabamba, Bolivia. And recently at Sunnyslope, we've had some relationship with Pastor Gerson and the churches there in Cochabamba, and we are really excited to build this partnership and this shared vision for ministry. And Pastor Gerson is here. He's going to share a little bit about the work of church planting that they are doing in Cochabamba. And we'll talk a little bit about how we at Sunny Slope can help support them and encourage them in this work. So, Pastor Gerson, thank you for joining me and for taking some time. Would you talk to us a little bit about your vision for church planting and what that's going to look like going forward?
Yeah, for sure, Pastor. First, thank you very much for your invitation, Pastor, and a greeting for all the church. We really appreciate your love and your patience to have many conversations with us, looking for opportunities to advance with the kingdom of God. So we are really glad that we can work together as Christian fellowship that God is providing for us. It's a great thing, not just for us, but also we see an opportunity to serve others between our fellowship. So as a church, we are planting different churches in Bolivia. But one of the things that we noticed was that in we have some poor places in our own city, and just by God's grace, we were planting a church some years ago in one of the poorest places in Cochabamba, and our people there were meeting in one of the brothers' house. But when we noticed, every time we were visiting, and in the past of the years, we noticed that it was a very poor community, and we decided to help this church, not just sending pastors, but we were looking for opportunities to serve also in our community, and we found that this was the right place because there are many situations in this place. There are many children in a state of malnutrition, and there are many families that they are broken families because probably some of them because of the same financial situation. So there are many children that they are not with their parents, so they are in need of medical situations too. So we are planning a church in this place. It's called Villa Israel. So and the beginning was full of Christians. So that was the idea because the name is Israel. So, but in the time, because it was very far away from the city, there were many people in this area, but most of them are poor people. So our desire is not just to show the gospel to those people in need. That for sure that is our principle and our main goal, but at the same time, we would like to show the mercy of the gospel with them. And if we can just not just talk about the gospel, but also offer them opportunities and show the mercy of God with them. So we can see that as a good opportunity to share the gospel with them. So that is our idea in this particular area. And I think all of our church are very excited to continue supporting this church. And now we have a place. We bought a land. It's not very big, but it's enough, as you notice in your last visit. Even it doesn't have the great conditions, but in our dream, we are dreaming that in the future we can have a church in a special place also to offer those opportunities for people. So
And
that is our goal. And also we are having meetings this year to start this year. So probably in the next month.
And am I putting up pictures of the site here on the screen? I think you might be able to see that. Oops, not that one. But these are some of the pictures of the site that I took when we were there in Cochabamba. If I'm not mistaken, this is the place. So I'm curious. Oops, let me stop sharing my screen here. So you've got this vision for what I love about this is that it's a vision for a church, but it's a church that's going to be very intentional about showing the mercy of Christ, caring for the material needs of people, for their health and for their families and social structures as well. Because of course, that's the power of the gospel. Is it's not just about word and saving souls, as we might say, but it's about transformation of people and then through people communities as well. So I'm curious if you had to envision, let's say 5 years from now, if everything goes the way that you would kind of envision it, what do you see in 5 years from now? How does this look?
Well, that is a great question. I think it's part of our vision to try to advance every year. So for the next 5 years, our vision is to have our church structure there, and in our same structure to have specifically some places for serving these people, and trying to have like a program that is running all the time with that focus. So we're thinking, especially, I think it's more open in at the beginning to work with children. So we're thinking that for the next 5 years, we can start working with them, but also I think probably through them we can work with parents, because also they have some situations they are facing. It's not just the financial thing. Some of them are fighting with alcohol, drugs, or some things like that, or just other things. So I think that we can start with children, offering a program that can support them with nutrition or an integral view for them, education, so we can have like a place for that we can provide education and Christian education, especially for children. So it's not necessarily like a school, but something that we can complement with the school that they are doing, and we can have like two journeys in the morning, or other in the afternoon, to support different families and try to provide them with the things that they need, but also with the gospel specifically. And for that, our desire is to train our people. We have some of them trained to have like teachers or educators in those journeys. So that is part of our idea, and for sure, our church is going to offer them a spiritual nutrition and counseling to different families.
Yeah, so in the States, maybe you'd use the same language, but you would talk about community centers, which are meant to be places where you meet and tend to all these other needs as well. But because it's linked to a church, it's grounded in the gospel. I mean, that the proclamation of the gospel, but then it's lived out in all of these other ways of caring for the whole person, which I think is so biblical, and I love that. So what kind of Sunnyslope has we've made a commitment. We want to help support you in this because we see huge value in this. What sort of financial goals do you have? I mean, I know you've got to raise money to build a church building, and then longer term, like you're talking these community centers and programs. Financially, what is the goal for that? Do you have a sense of, how much you need to raise, or is that still just you kind of figure it out as you go, or how does that work?
Well, probably things here are very different from US, something that the rest of our brothers can understand. Probably you are so much or organized than us. We most of the times we just started with anything and we try to continue, uh, just trusting in that God is going to provide for us. So we are doing, I think, by different stages. So probably we got like a promedio of the number of what we are going to need in this first stage. So now we're going to start with the building. So we're going to put the foundation and probably to have a main place to have at least the meetings, and after that we're going to edify the rest. So I think for this first stage, we're going to need like $50,000. That was something like a premium, and to have at least the sanctuary in some other rooms. But our design is to have like very similar to our church. It's like a it's like the same structure, but in a smaller way. So we're going to have the sanctuary in the first level, like a balcony. We're going to have a room, a main room in the second level, and also we're going to have some other rooms. So we're going to just now trying to focus and start with this first level, but for sure our desire is to try to continue, and if at least if we can have this place, we can just receive also children in this area.
Right. And I think you hit on something it is a big difference between the United States and say Bolivia, where um I think there's actually some real strengths in your approach, because you're not going to wait until the whole thing is finished before you actually start. Like, my understanding is you'll start building, and when you have the basic frame of a church, you can start worshiping there, and you just kind of build out as you go. And you're right, in America typically you'd wait till the whole thing is finished before you'd start worshiping there. And but this way you're it sounds like you're going to hit the ground as soon as you is humanly possible to start worshiping there and start the work, and then just kind of build up as you go along and as the funds become available to you.
Yeah, Pastor. Yeah, I noticed that. I think sometimes it's it's like yeah, a great thing to trust in God. I know what you're saying. And we're trying to combine those things because we
Right.
know that plan is not to make some plans is not something bad.
Right.
So because even in the past we were just starting with anything, and for sure God was providing all of the things. Even in the structure that we have now in the church, it was made in the same way, and we were not thinking, even we were not thinking to have the structure that we have. So we were just having with some ideas, but now we are trying to plan at least for some stages and trusting in God's provision for our people. So yeah, I think it's one of the differences between
Yeah.
other other cultures.
Yeah, and like you said, there's strengths and weaknesses in both ways, but I love the fact that you are planning. You've got a vision here. It's clear that you've got something that you're working towards, and you're going to move on that and trust that God will take you step by step and provide for you. And again, we're excited to help in even in whatever small ways we can, and just to share in this vision, to see you reach the people of Cochabamba and help the poor. So we're excited to partner in that. We look forward to seeing what God will do, and yeah, we want to thank you for this opportunity to serve with you and to support you in this small way. So thank you, Pastor Gerson. We got to wrap it up now, but thanks for taking some time, and we look forward to working together.
Thank you too, Pastor, and all the church, and we are really blessed by this fellowship, and I hope also you can be encouraged by the things that we are doing here and what God is doing in the rest of the world.